Lesson number 1, mental accounting. In economics, we say that money is fungible, meaning $1 in your pocket is equal to $1 in my pocket. It doesn't matter if you won $100 in the lottery or if it cost you 1 hour of work. It is the same. $100 is $100, right? However, in reality, we give different values to each dollar that is in our account, depending on the category we place that money in. Imagine it this way. Your brain is divided into multiple boxes. You have a different box for money, a different one for family, a different one for friends, etc. And each of these boxes have similar boxes inside that are designed to hold different categories of information. For example, in your money box, there is a separate box for investment, a separate one for saving, retirement, gambling, vacation, donation, bonuses, regular expenses, etc. And depending on which box you put money in, its value changes automatically, and you treat it differently. For example, you would not take $2,000 from your saving account and buy a new iPhone, but you are highly likely to do it if you recently got a bonus from your employer for $2,000. Somehow, money coming as a bonus or as a tax refund feels like something that can easily be spent. On the other hand, money in our savings account is more sacred, and we would not touch it. But this doesn't make sense, and we shouldn't treat a $100 bill differently than another $100 bill in our account just because we have labeled it differently. But the reality is that we do it, and it costs us quite a bit of money. In psychology, the name of such bias is called mental accounting. Let me give you a few real life cases where you can see how mental accounting causes us to make poor financial decisions. For example, many people make purchases with high interest credit cards, but don't touch the money in their savings accounts that earn only 1%. Financially, it makes sense not to take a 20% loan and use the money in a savings account, but our mental accounting makes us believe that they are different and can't be mixed. Another example, let's say you invest $1,000 into Bitcoin, and after 2 months, you double your initial investment. In this scenario, you are highly likely to treat the extra $1,000 differently and make risky investments with it. Just stop and ask yourself, why should I treat the second $1,000 differently? Isn't it just like my initial $1,000? So why should I take more risk with it? Obviously, you shouldn't treat them differently, but mental accounting tells you that you can take more risk with the money you just earned. And that is how most of us end up with taking high risks and even losing the initial $1,000 we put in. I will share a few tips on how you can use mental accounting in your favor and make smart financial decisions. These are not financial tips, and I'm not a financial expert. They are examples to help you to start thinking and organizing your money differently. Tip number 1. As you just saw, because of mental accounting, we treat $1,000 in a checking account differently than $1,000 in a retirement account or in a savings account. So, if you want to reduce your spending, then keep very little money in the checking account or in your fun account and put the rest under a savings account. It is less likely that you will spend the money in your savings account. Mental accounting reduces the pain of paying. As soon as you say this money is for fun, you will feel less pain to spend it. But if you put the fun money into savings account, then it will be difficult for you to spend $5 every day on Starbucks coffee. Tip number 2. Mental accounting is a natural human weakness and is usually taken care of by some companies or organizations. For example, casinos make you change money into chips because it will be easier for you to spend the chips than the real cash. And guess who else takes advantage of this weakness? Banks. Banks know that money spent from credit cards isn't the same as cash, but at the end of the day, it is the same, and you are the one who pays for it. So try to remember this and don't treat the credit card, debit card, and cash differently. I know it's a hard thing to do, and that's why using cash is actually easier. Tip number 3, have a goal in advance for the extra income you will get. For example, this year, I will invest all my bonuses, salary increases, and tax returns into my retirement account. If you don't do this, you are highly likely just to spend the extra income on needless purchases. For example, imagine 2 scenarios. In the first scenario, your boss gives you $1,200 as a bonus at the end of the year. And in the second scenario, he increases your monthly income by $100. At the end of the year, in both scenarios, you end up getting an extra $1,200. You should not treat them differently, right? But in reality, we both know that you will spend most of the bonus because you will feel like it is something extra and can be spent. On the other hand, You will be saving most of the $100 salary increase because it will be part of your hard earned salary. And mentally, this type of money is more sacred than the bonus. Tip number 3: if you have debt with, let's say, 15% interest, then don't start investing your money into something that brings you 8% return per year. It's smart to just pay off the debt, because paying off 15% debt is like investing into something that brings you 15% return. But of course, most of us have a different box for investment and a different box for debt. And we don't mix those two, and as a result, end up losing money overall. Tip number 4: look at the totality of your portfolio. Your stocks might do well, but you might lose a lot on Bitcoin. I've seen people who are excited and happy that their stock portfolio is up by $200, while they ignore the fact that they just lost $2,000 on Bitcoin. At the end of the day, it is the overall performance that matters. Assess the overall performance and don't ignore the risky ones just because you have labeled them differently. Tip number 5: reduce the amount of money in your speculation account. We always treat speculation money as something that can be lost. So if you are a heavy speculator, then this might help you to reduce the risks you are taking. Tip number 6: view all income as earned income. You would not waste your hard-earned income, right? Then treat all money in your account the same, regardless where it comes from and where it is used. All should be treated the same. Tip number 7: you might do great in the earning category, but spend too much. You might feel good about the situation because you are earning a lot, but look at the full picture. Are you really moving forward? So, look at your money and see what kind of mental accounting categories you have and how you can adjust them so that you can save more, spend less, and overall improve your financial situation. Lesson number 2: opportunity cost. When I was a student, I used to live with one of my friends who loved to drink and party, so we had a lot of empty beer bottles in the room. I remember once spending 2 hours returning empty beer bottles with him so we could get some money for them. It was not possible to return the bottles in the store near us, so we carried the heavy bags of bottles to another store quite far away from us. In total, we spent 2 hours and made around $6. It was $3 for each of us. We earned $1.50 per hour. You know, the funny thing is that we could earn multiple times more if we just did any other type of work. For example, if we delivered food, we could earn $7 an hour, but instead we chose to spend our time on returning empty beer bottles. The reason we did this was because we were not aware of a concept called opportunity cost. What is an opportunity cost? The opportunity cost is everything you give up when you decide to do something with the money or time you have. Imagine that you go to a green grocery in a world where there are only 2 fruits, the apple and the pear. The opportunity cost of buying an apple is giving up buying the pear, and the opportunity cost of buying the pear is giving up buying the apple. For example, if you go to the car dealership to buy a car, you see the car you want. It costs $15,000, just the money you've saved for it. But there is something that you do not realize at that moment. That car will cost you more than $15,000 in your pocket. Why? Because $15,000 could also be used for a long-term investment with an annual return of, let's say, 8%. In 20 years, that money could be around $70,000. So to calculate the opportunity cost, you have to take the money you have earned, $70,000, minus the money you spent on the car, $15,000, which equals $55,000. So the real cost of the car is $55,000. Not $15,000. And I'm not even including the maintenance, insurance, gas, and other costs. Now, I'm not here to judge your decision of owning a car. Maybe you get huge pleasure out of owning a car, and that pleasure alone is worth over $55,000. I'm just trying to show how the opportunity costs work and how that decision impacts your finances and life. Many of us will check the balance of our account before spending money, but we often won't think about the things we must give up when we make that spending decision. The problem comes up when you never look at what else you could do with your money. And that's why we all have stories similar to my beer bottle story. And my hope with this video is to help you be more aware about the opportunity cost, not just in terms of money, but also in other aspects of your life. Life is all about choices, and in every choice you make, there is an opportunity cost. Every time you choose something, you give up something else. You can't have everything at once. If you decide to go drink beer with your friends, you can't go to the gym. If you buy a new phone with your savings, you can't invest, etc. It is very important to always think about opportunity cost when you're making choices because it is a real cost. And don't think that if I buy this phone, I can't buy that phone. Think broader. Think about other categories such as investing, saving, creating a business, spending quality time with friends, etc. We humans usually think in a box or within one category. For example, Dan Ariely says when he asked people in Hyundai dealerships what the opportunity cost of buying a car was, most of them responded that if they buy a Hyundai, they can't buy Toyota. This is how narrow most of us think. But in reality, the answer to Ariely's question is if I buy this car, I am giving up the opportunity to go to a beautiful vacation with my family. Or if I buy the car, I can't invest for my retirement. If I buy the car, I can't buy 1,500 books or 3,000 lattes, etc. Let me give you a couple more examples about opportunity cost and how it relates to day-to-day life. For example, opportunity cost of hanging out with a friend who plays video games every day is losing the opportunity to hang out with another friend who works hard on his business ideas. Spending time with that friend is probably costing you to become the co-owner of $1 million company. One final example. Let's say you have two tasks, making dinner for yourself and working on your business. Doing both of these tasks will take you 1 hour. However, cooking dinner will save you $10, but working on your business will bring you $50. Now, if you decide to cook because you think that it is a waste of money to order it from outside, then that dinner will actually cost you $40. $50 potential earning from business minus the cost of the meal, which is $10. You have to include the opportunity cost because by deciding to cook, you just lost the opportunity to earn $50 from your business. Successful people pay special attention to opportunity costs, and they never work on a $10 value task while ignoring the $50 value task. And they never spend 1 hour in line to get $2 free hamburger or spend 1 hour going from store to store to find the cheapest fruits in order to save $3. You probably have never seen and will never see Jeff Bezos spending 2 hours on YouTube and leaving negative comments to people who criticized him. Lesson number 3, Ulysses contract. A few years ago, I decided not to eat sweets for 30 days, especially after lunch. For a few days, I managed it, but then I found myself quite often in front of the fridge looking at the delicious chocolate cake. And as you've probably guessed, I couldn't resist and eventually cut a slice and started to eat. For a few days, I resisted and promised myself not to eat again. But after a stressful day in the office, I found myself eating ice cream this time. I knew that this couldn't continue. Something had to change. So I made a rule for myself and decided not to buy the sweet stuff in the first place when I was shopping, because I realized that if I bought it, I would eventually eat it. So the rule was, if you don't want to eat sweets, then don't buy them and put them in the fridge. Because no hungry person on a diet is disciplined enough to look at a delicious cake and decide to not eat it. You might stop yourself once or twice, but not the third time. So, what does this story have to do with money? Well, as it is with sweets, there are a lot of things about money that we can't resist, and without strict rules, we are likely to do certain things that we will later regret. Taking into account the lack of rationality and how easy we are to manipulate when spending our money, we need strict, self-controlling agreements. We need a Ulysses contract. You've probably heard about Ulysses contracts, right? In the story told by the Greek epic poem The Odyssey, a hero named Ulysses had to pass near charming mermaids who seduce men with their beautiful song. But not everything is what it seems. Every man who fell under the effects of the singing of the sirens would die. Ulysses was aware that he could not resist hearing the sirens, so he made a decision. So he asked the other men who were with him to tie him to the ship so that he could hear the sirens sing, but without the possibility of going after them. The other men covered their ears with wax. This is how Ulysses was successful. So, how would a Ulysses contract work in your finances? Here are a few tips. Number 1, make certain rules around your purchases. For example, if the price of an item is over $50, you have to wait at least 1 day before buying it. Giving some time to yourself will avoid making a lot of impulse purchases. Number 2, make saving and investing automatic. You know that you are not disciplined enough to invest for your retirement every month manually, or put aside your money manually every month for your wedding. So automate as much as you can. Number 3, use cash as much as you can. We tend to spend up to 30% more when using credit cards. Paying with a plastic card reduces the pain of paying, especially the credit cards. A few days ago, I was buying groceries in my favorite store. When I was about to leave the store, I saw that they were offering a store credit card. And the biggest benefit was that if you make purchases with the card, you get back up to 4% of your purchases. At first, it seemed like it was a great deal because I shop there quite often. Besides, I have to pay for the things anyway, so if they're going to return 4% of every purchase I make, then why not have it? So I was about to walk toward the information in order to get more info to sign up, but then I stopped and returned back. Here's why. Yes, if I use their card, I will get 4% back. But on the other side, I will end up spending 30% more because of using a credit card instead of cash. I would say that this percentage would probably be even higher than 30% because when you know that you get back a certain percentage of your purchase, you are more likely to make bigger purchases and feel good about it. Now, I don't want to sound like I'm completely against using credit or debit cards. In fact, they're great tools and I personally have both of them. But I try to use them when paying with cash is not an option. Lesson number 4, the magic of language. Many parents, when they want to make their baby eat lunch, they try all sorts of things, like trick them into telling them that the spoon going into their mouth is a plane about to land. This is to increase the chances that the baby will eat. Although this may seem like something that would only fool a child, actually, in real life, language can also do magic on adults when it comes to spending money. That is, it is possible to change an adult's way of thinking just by changing the words and phrases used. For example, restaurants understand very well the power of language to increase sales. When a waitress describes wine as complex notes of woods, slightly sweetened and a hint of tobacco, then the customer will be more interested in tasting that wine and pay even up to $50 to $100 for it. If the waitress just says oak flavored wine, it doesn't sound all that interesting. This is the magic of language used to increase the value of things. You know, a burger will cost twice as much if the restaurant says that the bread is artisanal and the vegetables are organic, and you are willing to accept it. Although we like to think that we are good at managing our money, in reality, much of the time we spend with our hearts more than with our brains. Lesson number 5, relativity. Imagine you come to the planet Earth for the first time and everything on the planet is new to you. How would you know how much a bread costs or how much a TV should cost? How would you price such things? The truth is that we don't know how to value things. We simply look around and see what other similar things exist, and then we compare the prices. For example, you go to a restaurant and want to have some wine. You look at the menu and see that there are 3 types of wine for $10, $20, and $30. Which one do you choose? Well, most of us would just pick the middle one and be happy with it. This is how we make most of our purchase decisions. If there is only one price, it would be quite difficult to choose because there is nothing to compare it to. That is why companies usually offer 3 packages with 3 different prices. The most expensive package is usually there just to make the middle one look more affordable. You choose the middle one and feel that you have made an independent choice. But the middle one is usually the one they wanted to sell you in the first place. Another example, you walk into a store and see those pairs of shoes that you like. When you get closer looking at them, you see that they have a discount ad like this. Strike through $300 to $250 US. You suddenly get excited that you are about to save $50. But you really shouldn't think in terms of how much you are saving, but how much you are about to spend. You should not care that you are saving $50, but that you are actually going to spend $250 US. The old price is only there for you to make a comparison and believe that it is an opportunity. That is why when you see such discounts, try to ignore the discounted number and think about the money you are about to spend and what is the opportunity cost of that money. Thinking in terms of opportunity cost can help you avoid many such traps. I have summarized over 7 books on psychology. If you are interested, please check out the playlist you see on your screen right now. Thanks for watching.